What is going on YouTube examples, TCG here, coming at you with a brand new deck profile. I know it's been a few days since my last video, I do apologise. I wanted to start making videos every other day and I kind of have been a little bit busy with work and other bits and bobs around my flat and to do with my gaming side of things, so I haven't really had the chance to make some videos for my trading card channel. However, I'm trying to bulk record a few this weekend, so then you guys have some videos going through the week and obviously then up to next weekend. I do hopefully have my first locals to go to tomorrow, which will be Sunday. I am recording this on the Saturday, so I'm hoping I can go to my first locals tomorrow, obviously set up my recording stuff, get a few duels down, get a few feature matches, maybe get the final if I can actually record the final, and obviously get some deck profiles from people at the event. Hopefully I can get first and second place deck profiles. That is what I'm aiming to do. But nevertheless guys, today's video is going to be a Fire King deck profile. It's a deck that I've profiled a while back when I was uploading quite consistently, I can't speak today, in 2017. I've made a few subtle changes to the deck, not too many, because I haven't really used this deck in the current format. I haven't really gone into depth with my extra deck. I will explain that when I get to the extra deck part of this particular video, but I will go through my main deck first. I'll go through my deck, my choices of cards, all that kind of stuff, and then I'll talk about the extra deck afterwards. So if I move that to one side, we'll start off with the same type of format we went through with the first deck profile I did, which is obviously my 60 card Light Swan deck, and then we'll go through everything else afterwards. So, monsters first, obviously play 3 copies of Fire King High Avatar Garunex. This guy is your boss monster of the deck by a country mile. If he's destroyed by a card effect, you can bring him back in the next standby phase and he basically blows up the board on the monster side of things. So obviously if your opponent has a board set up full of monsters bearing down on you during your standby phase, bring this guy back, pop the whole board, including your monsters, but obviously with your monsters, most of them should be Fire Kings, so they get their effect during the next standby phase anyway. But this guy is a boss monster of the deck. Obviously he's a 2700 beater as well, which is very, very helpful to run things over if you need to run things over. If your opponent doesn't know what Fire Kings do, and they use the likes of Dark Hole or that kind of stuff on this card, and obviously they don't know what Fire Kings do, and you can bring them back over and over again, they're going to get a little bit pissed off, especially with the fact that Garunex can blow at their board every single time he comes back. So I do run 3 copies of the Garunex. I then run 3 copies of YuGiOh. Obviously, when this guy came out, he was much needed for the deck, in my personal opinion. It was kind of one card that we were missing, alongside obviously Fire King Island, but he was one card that we were missing. Basically, if you control a face-up Fire King monster and it's destroyed by a card effect, except during a damage step, you can special summon this card from your hand. If this card is destroyed and sent to a graveyard, you can destroy one card in your hand that you or that you control even. You can only use effect of Fire King Avatar YuGiOh once per turn. So YuGiOh is very, very handy with the form of being able to pop other Fire Kings. You could obviously pop your Garunex to blow up the board next turn if you need to. You can pop the other Fire Kings that you run in your deck as well. So he's a very, very nice card to actually make your plays start to revolve. And obviously you can special summon him if a Fire King card is destroyed by a card effect. Very, very handy to have. Then I run triple copies of Fire King Avatar Barong. This is basically like the first copy of YuGiOh, I like to say, with regards to the fact that he can also be special summoned if, I think, he can also, yeah, he can be special summoned a bit like YuGiOh if a card is destroyed by a card effect. And also during the next standby phase, after this card was destroyed by a card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can add a Fire King card from your deck to your hand except Barong. So obviously you can get your YuGiOhs, you can get your Garunex, you can get the other cards that run in the deck, which we'll get to in just a second. So this guy can, again, make your plays a little bit more consistent. He helps out a lot with being able to be special summoned, and also the fact that you can search for, obviously, Fire Kings from your deck with his effect and add them to your hand. So this guy is one of the better Fire Kings in the deck, alongside YuGiOh. I then run 3 copies of the newest card that we've had, which is Avatar. Obviously I haven't got the 3rd copy at the moment, I am trying to pick one up, but I run 3 copies of Avatar solely to try and play test him in the deck more than anything. I don't know how well he's going to fit in with the profile that I've got, but he is one of the new additions to the deck. I can't actually remember what I took out for him, but he's one of the new additions to the deck. I think I had a Flame Tiger sat in the deck as like a stand-in until this guy came out. Obviously, he's now out. I need to obtain the third copy, but he's now out, so I'm going to try him out. Basically, his effect is when a monster effect is activated whilst this monster is on the field, brackets quick effect, you can negate the activation if you do destroy one other fire monster in your hand or on the field. If this card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can just target one fire beast, warrior, or winged beast monster in your graveyard except Avatar, special summon it, but its effects are negated. Also, it's destroyed during the end phase. You can only use the each effect of Avatar once per turn. So obviously you can special summon your likes of Barong and your Yakshas, your Grunexes, all that kind of stuff. Obviously, its on-field effects are negated, but most of the effects of Fire Kings are in the graveyard anyway during the next standby phase. So obviously, this card is very, very helpful in making those plays happen as well. And also, with the fact that you can negate and destroy card effects with the likes of Avatar is very, very handy as well. It means that, again, you can go into your plays with your Fire Kings, because you do have to sacrifice something in order to make that particular effect work. I then run 2 copies of the smaller Grunex to round off the Fire Kings. I was going to run 2 Grunex and 1 Kieran, but I don't know where I've put my Kierans, if I'm honest with you. And I don't really like Kieran as a card anyway. I just don't really like the way that it's doesn't really fit in with the profile that I've got. Hence why I don't run them at the moment. I might put them in. If I find them whilst I'm searching through my tins for other cards, for other decks that I want to build, then I'll definitely end up rereading this effect and seeing if it's worth putting in. But I run 2 copies of the smaller Grunex to round off the Fire King aspect of the deck. Basically, this card, if a face-up Fire King monster you control is destroyed by a card effect except during the damage step, you can special summon this card from your hand. If this card is in your possession, is destroyed by opponent's card effect, opponent's card either by battle or card effect, and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon 1 Fire King monster from your deck. So in other words, it doesn't specify a level, so you could go Grunex. Grunex's effect, obviously, summon the bigger Grunex, and you've basically gone into your reoccurring Dark Cold play. So that is why I run the 2 copies of the smaller Grunex. It's very, very handy to have. As I said, I need to reread Kieran and see whether it would be beneficial to put Kieran in this deck, and if so, I'll have to have a look to see what I should cut, or whether I should just add it in as another 2 of or 3 of. But still, I run 3 copies of Grunex. The next card I run is 3 copies of Coach Soldier Wolfbark. This is one card that I was waiting to come out for quite a while whilst I was playing Fire Kings. Like, I've played Fire Kings since the structure deck came out, and when I knew that this card was coming out, I thought this would be a great addition to the deck, so I need to have it when it comes out. And then I think I actually ended up buying 3 copies of these for fairly cheap off of eBay when I found out that it came out, or realised that it came out. Basically, you can target 1 level 4 Fire Beast Warrior type of monster in your graveyard, special summon in the face-up defense position. Its effects are negated. You can only use effect of Coach Soldier Wolfbark once per turn. So it's a nice card to have. Obviously, you can bring out the likes of your Yaksha, your Barongs, all that kind of stuff. And also now the avatars with Coach Soldier Wolfbark, and you can go into your Exceed plays. This is why I run this card really, is for the Exceed plays more than anything else. Obviously, I can also use the Fire King's effects if Dark Hole's used, for example, or something along those lines onto my board. However, I use Wolfbark mostly to get into my my Exceed plays. As I said, I'll go through my extra deck and what I have and what I was thinking of putting in and all that kind of stuff when I get to it, because I haven't actually finished the extra deck for this deck just yet. But still, this guy can help out with your extra deck plays regardless. I then run 3 copies of Flamvell Firedog. If you guys don't know what this does, it's been around for long enough, so you should, but if you obviously weren't around when it first came out, basically, if this guy runs over a card, you can special summon a card that has 200 less defense from your deck apart from another Firedog, and all of your level 4 Fire Kings actually have 200 defense, which means that Flamvell Firedog is a very, very nice card to have in the deck. It means that you can make a lot of plays with the Fire King aspect of the deck, hence why I do run 3 copies of this bad boy. He's a little bit hard to run over things nowadays, because obviously nowadays there's a lot of bigger beaters than 1900, but I do run Fire Dogs anyway. I then run 2 copies of Brotherhood of the Fire Fist Bear. I was going to run 3 copies of this. I think I ran 3 copies in the past, but now that we've got the new Fire King Avatar, I felt that it would be beneficial to run 3 copies of Avatar over 3 copies of Bear. So I cut out 1 copy of Bear and put in 1 copy of an extra copy of Avatar in. Obviously, I still need to pick that up. But this bad boy basically allows you to go into your fire formations that you do run in the deck a little bit more consistently, hence why I do run 2 copies of Bear. And it's another level 4 fire beast warrior that you can use for your extra deck, and also obviously a few of the effects actually search out beast warriors and winged beasts, so that guy's very, very helpful. Then I run 1 copy of Sacred Phoenix. Basically, this card is a heavy storm on steroids, a bit like your Garunix is a Dark Hull on steroids. This bad boy can help out with clearing out any spell or traps, pesky spell or traps that you don't want on the board, hence why I do run 1 copy of that. I don't feel like more than 1 copy is needed, so I run 3 copies of Sacred Phoenix, and I've just nearly knocked over my my camera there. I do apologise, guys, I did not mean to do that whatsoever. So on to the spells of the deck. Obviously, I ran 3 copies of Fire King Island. As soon as this card came out, I was like, yes, I'm so happy that we finally have a field spell for this particular deck. So I do run 3 copies of Fire King Island. If you guys aren't aware of what it does, if this face-up card, let's try that again. If this face-up card in a field card zone is sent to your graveyard or banished, destroy all monsters you control, you can only use 1 of the following effects of Fire King Island per turn, and you can only use only use it once that turn. So during your main phase, you can destroy 1 monster in your hand or you control, and if you do, add 1 Fire King monster from your deck to your hand. If you control no monsters, you can special summon 1 Fire Winged Beast type monster from your hand. So obviously, the final effect allows you to go into the likes of your Sacred Phoenix or your bigger Garunix. You could also probably go into your smaller Garunix if you so desire, but obviously the bigger Garunix is the way to go with that particular effect of this card. And the other one, obviously, you can destroy a monster, which means that you can actually start going into your Fire King plays, as well as adding a adding a Fire King monster from a deck to your hand. Sorry, I was making sure that it wasn't graveyard as well. So it allows you to go into a few more of your Fire King plays that you weren't able to do so in the past. I then run 3 copies of Circle and 3 copies of Onslaught. Obviously, these were the original spells that came out in the structure deck. I used to run 3 copies of Onslaught and 2 copies of Circle, but I found that across the time that I played this deck, 3 and 3 is a lot more beneficial than 2 and 3. Pretty self-explanatory cards to run in the deck. They're the best spells alongside obviously your Fire King Island to run in the deck, in my personal opinion, hence why I do run 3 copies of those also. I then run 3 copies of Tenki and then 1 copy of Tensu. These are the best fire formation cards for this deck in my personal opinion. Obviously, running Bear allows you to get into these a little bit quicker and a little bit more efficiently. So Tensu, during your main phase, you can normal summon 1 Beast Warrior type monster in addition to your normal summon. You can only gain this effect once per turn. All Beast Warrior type monsters you control gain 100 attack. Obviously means that you can summon like Yaksha, summon Barong, Exceed straight away, that kind of stuff. So this card is very, very helpful. And then I run 3 copies of Tenki, as I said. When this card is activated, you can add 1 level 4 or lower Beast Warrior type monster from your deck to your hand. All Beast Warrior monsters you control gain 100 attack. You can only activate 1 Fire Formation Tenki per turn. So basically, Tensu and Tenki adds 200 attack to each. This guy allows you to additional summon. This guy allows you to add 1 from your deck to your hand. So basically, you go Tenki first, normal summon, drop Tensu, additional summon, and then you can go on from there. So these cards can add a little bit more consistency, and also it allows you to go into a lot more plays, obviously, because every single card in this deck is a Beast Warrior or a Winged Beast, meaning that those cards actually help out quite a lot. And then run 2 copies of Terraforming. Obviously, self-explanatory, you're running Fire King Island in this build, which means that Terraforming comes very handy if you haven't found them yet. You drop a Terraforming, find a Fire King Island, play Fire King Island, and then go off from there, basically. So 2 copies of Terraforming. I would run the 3rd if I had space, but at the moment I do not have space to run 3, so I run 2. And then I run 1 copy of Rekindling. I really wish we could run more than 1 copy of Rekindling, but we can't. So I run 1 copy of this bad boy. Basically, you can special summon from a graveyard as many fire monsters as possible with 200 defense. During the end phase, banish all monsters that were special summoned by this effect. Obviously, that goes into the likes of your fire dogs and pretty much every single level 4 fire king that you have in the deck, meaning that you could pretty much fill your board and go into your Exceed or your Link plays from there. Hence why I run the 1 copy of Rekindling. I really wish that we could run more than 1, but I feel that this deck would be a little bit OP if we could run more than 1, along with a few other decks as well. And then the final cards I run in the deck are 3 copies of Horn of the Phantom Beast. I didn't actually specify earlier, but this is more of a fun build rather than a competitive build. So this is kind of a deck that I'd run at my locals when I'm not feeling like running like my meta decks, such as my Lightsworn deck. Hence why I've not really got anything too substantial like Pot of Dualities or Solemn Warnings and all that kind of stuff in this deck, because I just don't see myself playing this as like a competitive build. If I was going to go with a competitive build, then I'd probably change up pretty much half the deck anyway, but still. I run 3 copies of Horn of the Phantom Beast as the final card in the main deck. Target 1 beast or beast warrior type monster you control, equip this card to that target, it gains 800 attack. While the equipped monster is destroyed by when the equipped monster is destroyed by an opponent's monsters by battle and sent to the graveyard, draw 1 card. So obviously Horn of the Phantom Beast adds 800 attack onto your monster anyway, and then you can draw a card once it is destroyed by battle also. So that's the main deck out of the way and done with. That is the main bulk of it. As I said, I need to get 1 more copy of the new Avatar Fire King monster, and then I'm pretty much set to go with the main deck. It's just the extra deck that I'm kind of struggling on. So I don't really know what Link monsters to play in this deck, if I'm perfectly honest. I don't know what would benefit the deck at all. And then I know for a fact I want to run 3 copies of Brotherhood of the Fire Fist Tiger King, just because this card works well with the deck very, very nicely. It's obviously a level 4. It needs 2 level 4 Beast or Warrior type monsters, which is pretty much half the deck in the monsters category anyway. So this card can be brought out pretty much all the time. But other than that, and Direwolf, I need to pick up a Diamond Direwolf. But other than those 2 cards, I don't really know what to run in this extra deck. I was going to run a copy of Lion Emperor, but I don't have enough level 3s in the main deck to actually run a copy of Lion Emperor, sorry. If I end up putting Kieran into the deck, then I'll definitely end up adding this guy into the deck. But at the moment, I don't run enough level 3s in the main deck to actually warrant putting Lion Emperor in. So at the moment, I know for a fact I want to run these 3. I know for a fact I want to run at least 1 Diamond Direwolf, but I don't know what Link monsters to run, and I don't know what other Exceed monsters to run. So if you guys have any suggestions on what cards I should stick into the extra deck, please let me know in the comment section down below. I'll have a look through them. I'll see what I think would work well with the build, and then I'll obviously add them into the deck, play test them, and see what happens. But that's pretty much it for today's deck profile, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. As I said, I'm hoping to have a lot of content coming in the upcoming days from my locals as long as it goes ahead. I say that because we have double booked, or we've managed to make Mackenzie's double book their room, which means that we have to find somewhere else to go to, which is fine. We don't mind doing so, but it's just finding somewhere that will allow us to play for pretty much the whole day, obviously whilst trading and all that kind of stuff. So I'll let you guys know if and when that happens. Excuse me, I've got something in my mouth there that I shouldn't really have in there. I think it was a fly or something. Apologise about that. But yeah, I'll let you guys know, obviously, if we end up going to locals. And you'll probably know if we end up going to locals, because I'll bring you guys like my local breakdown of the deck that I run, my matchups, and then you'll see some feature matches and deck profiles from the winners and stuff. So you'll know if and when I do end up going to my locals, but at the moment it's a bit up in the air, but I'll let you guys know if and when that happens. But nevertheless, guys, thanks for tuning in. If you did enjoy it, please leave a like, rate, and subscribe for more trading card game content. In the description down below, I'll leave a link to my Twitch channel, which I do live stream a lot of video games on, and I live stream daily over there, so if you want to go and check that out, by all means do so. It would be greatly appreciated. But nevertheless, guys, thanks for tuning into this deck profile, and I'll see you in my next video. Adios.